girlfriend before me. She was black. She was like a model. And then I found out that he went on a date with my friend, who's also black.
So this was brought to my attention via email, and what was brought to my attention is that when it comes to Georgi and Darcy's current relationship on this current season of Happily Ever After, it was noted by Georgi that none of these women have ever met his parents. So none of his exes, including Darcy, up until now. Even though I have obviously made a video obviously regarding the fact that there is evidence that shows that Darcy may have already met George's parents in America, literally visiting the Niagara Falls. But again, that is here or there. But nonetheless, though, let's talk about this little conversation here that has been sparked towards my attention of how comes none of George's exes have actually ever met his family, especially given the fact that he was even married at one point too. And he obviously, you know, with his ex-wife, she obviously knows that obviously Georgie's exes, like herself, were black women. And the only time that his exes were not black, they would be...
It's interesting. I've only seen him with one non-black woman, but with money.
But the woman that he'd come across with money would be, you know, obviously Caucasian. But you see, here's the thing. So the first initial approach to this conversation is, has his ex-wife and his other girlfriends never met his parents because they're black? Because you see, it is known here in Europe that there are certain parts of Bulgaria, or if not most of it, has been deemed as racist. Now, for me, myself in particular, everybody that I know, apart from one person that has been to Bulgaria, have spoken about the racism, obviously about the profile, and obviously how you're judged straight off the bat, okay? Obviously, I've got a friend who's currently there right now, to be fair, and he's the one friend, but obviously I haven't had a conversation with him just yet about it, but it seems to me, based on his stories, that he seems to be having a good time there, and he seems to not be in that type of predicament. But then that could be because maybe he's gone to a certain location that is better suited for him. It is literally here and there. Now, don't get me wrong, I've spoken to a Bulgarian female in the past, and she has actually said, no, if you come to Bulgaria, well, if we went to Bulgaria, whatever, you'd have no issues with racism, it's just completely fine, blah, 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 blah. But either way, though, there is the conversation that racism exists in Bulgaria, and it is higher than it is lower, okay? Based on conversations with the people that have gone there. So more of the situation is, when this was presented to me, I understood what point of view this person was trying to bring towards my attention, of saying, do you think that maybe his exes have never been introduced to his family because of their race? Now, of course, this is something that we can never confirm, but it is very, very weird for somebody to marry him and not meet his family, to be honest with you, and not question why. And to be honest, as a person of color, I can promise you now, if I am not meeting your family, I'm going to be asking questions why. And in my experience, anytime that I have never met anyone's family, it's either for one, two reasons. Either one, obviously, you know, it just didn't get to that stage because I wasn't ready for it or whatever. Or two, which has been the more common one, to be fair, you know, for especially around my youth years, was due to the fact that person did not want me to meet their family because their family was racist. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so I can understand why there's this accusation out here that maybe that is the link. Now, of course, we now move on to the next one itself in particular. Now, where we are hearing the fact that when he does go for a woman who is not of color, he likes to go for a woman who is who's got money, and obviously Darcy seems to also fit that criteria, which things get even more interesting. But we'll get into that in a second. Let's play a little bit more of this flashback.
On his computer, and he had like a sugar mama website.
Married, and he's on a website for sugar mamas? I hope he doesn't think I'm his sugar mama.
So here's the thing. We now know, obviously, in the current season right now, he has obviously been telling Darcy how he would like her to dress before they meet his parents, okay? Because she's the first woman, apparently, that's ever going to meet his parents. Now, here's the thing, though. I am not too sure of how Georgi and Darcy met, per se. But, of course, here she's obviously making it clear that I am not a sugar mama. But the thing is, though, well, around these early seasons of Darcy and Stacey, well, guess what? Darcy was legit his sugar mommy because she was literally paying for a lot of things. So I do wonder, though, does he go for women that he does not actually intend to ever introduce to his family, because maybe he knows his family is going to have a judgment if the woman is black, or the family is going to have a judgment if the woman is older than him? Okay, because it seems to be a trend here with his obviously attitude. But being married to somebody and being on a sugar mama website is just nasty work.
Told me that we were divorced, but I didn't sign anything. I didn't see anything. Received something in the mail.
So here's the thing. This is a very interesting conversation regarding the divorce because, you know, I myself and somebody else that I know have tried to see if we can allocate or find Darcy and George's married papers. Because there's now this conversation of are they actually married? Now, this isn't based on this conversation here, you know what I mean? Not at all. I think this is based on something completely different either way, but after then watching this clip here or this clip that's presented to me, it then made me think even more. Are they currently married? And that is a very, very strong question because at the end of the day, whether or not it was displayed on TV, it doesn't always mean that it is actually happening. Do you see what I'm saying? So it does make you wonder. But I would like to definitely believe that the divorce between him and this lovely young lady here, obviously would have been finalized a very long time ago. Do you see what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, man, I don't know how you go from this to Darcy. I'm gonna lie to you. And it has nothing to do with race. Don't get it twisted. She's just a very beautiful woman. That's what it is. And Darcy is a very artificial woman. Do you see what I'm saying? You go from natural to artificial. That's just crazy work. But anyway, we continue.
Right.
Anything in the mill.
Interesting. Okay.
And isn't it interesting though, obviously back here, this is when Darcy looked more natural. Do you see what I'm saying? She obviously had work done to herself back then, but I would say that she definitely looked better back then. You know, this is obviously a couple of years ago now, isn't it? Probably about 3-4 years ago now, maybe 5. And I got to say, man, if you're looking at Darcy now compared to what she looked like then, this is actually great work. But we have also got another clip coming up too. And I don't know how Darcy could change. I don't know how she looked completely different in the same season, but you know what I mean when I get there.
Okay. When he said that the divorce was finalized, I was kind of like surprised. I was like, okay.
Well,
and you need that, I think, to get remarried and stuff.
Yeah, I
But is Georgia somebody that can be trusted? That is the main question.
haven't
You know.
seen. I don't have anything either. So
I'm confused. Are you guys still married?
unfortunately, I guess.
Even Stacey looks hella different back then, to be fair. I mean, I'd argue and say that Darcy looked better than Stacey back then. Now I think, well, they're both botched, so it is what it is. Anyway, I would assume, based on her reaction, that the divorce obviously would have been done a long time ago now. It's just a matter of if they are now actually, if Darcy and George's marriage is now become, if it's a legit one or just a on-screen one. Like, where's the paper at? You know what I'm saying? If anybody's come across the paperwork to prove that, yes, they are legitimately married and there is an actual documentation out there, please do feel free to send it to me.
Yes. Because Georgie's actually good with money.
Remember when I said that Darcy looked completely different in the same bloody season? I'm pretty convinced this was exactly the same season. But hey, the way she looks here compared to how she looked a second ago is nasty work. Not gonna lie to you. And honestly, that wig is atrocious. I know we're not here to talk about appearances, but the fact that we've seen an evolution of this woman over the years, we can't help but speak about appearances. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, honestly, I just really hope that Darcy and Stacey can get counseling, man. Really get themselves sorted out because they're going too far with it. But nonetheless, though, obviously here we're hearing that George is good with money. Why are we talking about this? Well, here's the thing then. Here's the thing though. There's been a consistency with Georgie never been honest with Darcy when it comes to finances. Something that we've witnessed in this current season of season 9 of Happily Ever After. Okay, but let's get into this a little bit more and then I'll elaborate further.
Savings. He was working.
You know, Darcy, you said you don't even know how much money he has.
Because he had.
Now, here's the thing. Back then, she didn't even know how much money he had. Back then, she didn't even know the man was good with money. But I tell you this right now, recently, Darcy has only just found out that Georgie got a promotion in his workplace. She didn't even know that this man is now potentially earning more money because he didn't tell her nothing. So it is interesting. Does he give different women a certain energy? Maybe he's somebody that does prefer a black woman, but maybe he just doesn't want to be always... Maybe he does prefer a black woman because he's clearly always willing to pay and be good with money when he was with them. Do you see what I'm saying? But maybe when it comes to him dating a woman that is not necessarily a white woman, but a woman that is older than him, maybe he thinks that means it's a free ride for him. You never know with some people. It's a whole calamity. You know, the only reason why I'm saying it may not be because of her race is because obviously the biggest difference, in my opinion, personally, between Darcy and I think it's Octavia, is age. Octavia looked like she was around the same age as Georgie. Obviously, we know that Darcy's a whole lot older. So does he give older women a different type of energy? Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, I think that's what really separates these two the most, not necessarily the race part. Because there are some people out there, some men and women out there, that if they are in a relationship with someone older, they have this expectation that that person is the one that pays for everything. It's a weird madness. This is why I guess a lot of women get scammed off them by men that are younger. You know what I mean? I mean, look at 90 Day UK right now with Zaina. And let's not forget Miss Debbie. Miss Debbie had the same situation with the guy from Morocco. But she was her own problem. So is Darcy, to be fair.
Hasn't, you know, worked since I've known him, covering all the expenses for us to have a nice life.
And this was all in the same season, I'm pretty sure, of her saying that I hope he doesn't think that I'm his sugar mama. Whoa, darling, you've been paying for everything. You clearly are. You clearly have been his sugar mama. Wherever she is now, who knows? Because obviously we know that Georgia is now working, but again, we don't know if their bills are now, you know, obviously evenly shared to however they would concede even, or is it a case where or is it a case of where Darcy is still dominating the finances because Georgia isn't being 100% truthful about his, you know, his incomings? Well, let me know exactly what you're thinking down below. Obviously, I feel like there's a lot to digest in this one itself in particular. You know, let me know what you're thinking. Do you think that the reason why his exes never met his family is it because they're black, or is it because they've been older women that he knows that? Is it because they're black, so he knows his family won't approve them because they're black, or is it because some of them have been older and he knows his family will not approve of older women? What is the reasons behind it? Okay, guys, all right. And also on top of that, what do you think about this whole money thing? Do you think Georgie has ever been, you know, honest about the financials, or do you think he has always used Darcy for money and he's probably still using Darcy for money? I mean, when it comes to Florin, we all know for sure, he's definitely using Stacey, but Stacey don't want to hear that. And also, let me know your thoughts on obviously how Darcy looked in the season here, so in particular, compared to how she looks now. Because, goddamn, the woman has had one hell of a transformation. In fact, let me just calculate let me just see how long ago this season was. Okay, so this season was 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Well, saying that though, just to double check both clips. Both clips were filmed 3 years ago, so that means it definitely was the same season. And yeah, I mean, honestly, both Stacey and Darcy have changed a lot since then, and it is actually nasty work. But nonetheless, though, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and we'll talk about it. And yeah, if you can find those papers that proves that either one, that that Georgia is divorced, and two that Georgia and Darcy are actually married, legit, then please do let us know. Okay. But anyway, with that being said, thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.